Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Craig from Resolution Minerals. How are you today?
Tracy, I'm doing fantastic. Nice to be with you today.
I saw you at the Critical Minerals Summit and you did an amazing presentation. And I think the first question I want to ask you, do we market you as antimony or is it tungsten? Because you've got both.
That's a great question. And firstly, Critical Metal Summit 5. It was fantastic. I hadn't been there before. Great room, love the format. Really good group of people, lots of questions, good energy, and actually learned a fair bit of stuff, which is unique at my age. That doesn't happen all the time. So thank you for including me in that event. To answer your question, we're really a three-legged stool. We're antimony, tungsten, and gold. With the interest in the US in developing critical metal supplies, frankly, we are really promoting and positioning ourselves as a critical metals company because of the past antimony production that we've got at the Horse Heaven project, as well as the past tungsten production. So we've got two separate past producing mines in the project. And we're moving those through a development cycle. The gold story is kind of just wrapped its arms around us like kind of a bear because we've got this very large halo of gold there, very similar to what you see at the Perpetua project next door, the Stibnite Gold Project. And indeed, I'm jumping kind of the gun here in your questions, but we're a direct geologic analog to what they've got over at the Stibnite. It's an intrusion-related gold system that also features silver and these critical metals, both antimony and tungsten. So direct lookalike to the folks next door.
And of course, you're fast tracking. How is the process going for a NASDAQ listing?
It's coming along well. They don't give you a date, interestingly enough, saying, or they haven't yet saying, okay, we're calling you to trade on this date, but we're very close. It's been a good process. It's not easy to jump through the hoops. Right? Everyone knows that regulatory hoops, particularly an Australian listed company, going through the accounting side of things. But we're just about there. We've gone through all of the questions and comments, so I think that's going to happen very, very soon. It's an ADR program that's going to be trading under the symbol RML. The ADR program actually is already up in place. You can buy stock on the OTC market under RSMIY. But as soon as we get to NASDAQ, the symbol is going to be RML, which is the same symbol we've got in Australia. And the great news is we're really getting, we did just do a $20 million financing a couple of weeks ago. It was all Australian investors. Most of it was institutional investors, and most of it was follow-on money from guys who were already owners of the stock. And the US investors that we've started to engage with were very interested in the story. Didn't bite yet. They want to see us up trading on NASDAQ. So we are knocking on doors in that market as we speak. And what I find interesting versus Canada, say if you're in a small company in the gold sector, you're looking at local, a lot of Canadian small institutions, you're looking at brokers, etc. In the New York market, going into NASDAQ, because we've got this critical metal story, even the generalist investors they're hearing on, Jim Cramer and Squawk Box are hearing it every day about critical metals. So they want a piece of this. They want some exposure to it. And we're going to give them that opportunity.
Of course, you have the critical of the criticals with antimony and tungsten, and of course, you have the joyful gold. I was looking at your milestones, and I'm telling you, you put them out very regularly, and a lot of drilling programs underway. Can you give us an overview?
Sure. Well, you are definitely going to be kind of a we are going to be a news-rich company the next 6 months because we did on May 1st start a 45,000 foot drill program. That's roughly between 40 to 45 holes we're going to be drilling. It started off extremely well with one drill. We've been at it for a couple of weeks. We're just dropping in A second drill is on site, so there's going to be two drills going. It's focused on what we call Golden Gate, and the numbers we're going to be looking for are gold and tungsten. That's the target at Golden Gate. It's about a 3 kilometer strike length trend. That's the host to the historic Golden Gate tungsten mine. That mine actually produced with an average grade of about 1.8, 1.85% tungsten, which is a very good grade. If you look at global tungsten mines, that's a very attractive grade. As part of the acquisition recently that we did of the old Johnson Creek tungsten mill, we also have anywhere from 2 to 8,000 tons of stockpiles that we're going to get processed. So we're starting those discussions. So yeah, the work we're doing right now is gold and tungsten focused.
And of course, we have Australians, Canadians, and Americans. Your project is based in Idaho. How are the governments lining up behind you?
We've had a very good reception. As you know, one of our other targets, the Antimony Ridge target, has already achieved Fast 41 status. We've got transparency coverage, which the market really liked to see. It was kind of a stamp of approval from the U.S. Government on what we're doing, and that's kind of the whole process is to focus streamlining. Historically, permitting in the United States was kind of open-ended, whether or not you did your plan of operations under a categorical exclusion, an environmental assessment, or an EIS. Under this Fast 41, there are timelines that you're working towards, that your permitting folks are working towards. So that's going to help. I think the Idaho delegation, the two representatives from Idaho, as well as the two senators, we've been engaging with them and keeping them updated. They're very supportive of extractive industries in their state. The governor, Brad Little, Republican guy, very supportive of extractive industries. The local community and the local governments are supportive of what we're doing. So yeah, things are generally very positive, and certainly, knocking on doors in Washington, as everyone is doing these days. It's been a really neat experience because there's a lot of really strong, capable people who are aggressive and want to get things done in Washington. So it's really I find it really refreshing and nice to see. So it's been a good process so far. We're actually applying for Fast 41 coverage for Golden Gate, where we're drilling right now. So we could have two Fast 41 projects at Horse Heaven. So yeah, the reception has been positive so far.
I gotta tell you, I love your naming. Golden Gate. What did I just hear? Horse Heaven.
And
Uh,
well, yeah, the Horse Heaven, I don't know, I scratch my head on, but but Antimony Ridge and Golden Gate, we love them. They tell a great story.
so let's go back to the timeline now, because everyone's talking about timelines. Who's going to be the first to produce in tungsten, et cetera, et cetera. What are you currently touting that makes Resolution stand out from all of the critical mineral crowd that is amassing every single minute of the day?
I think the thing that differentiates us from a lot of the critical metals is companies out there is grade, and specifically Antimony Ridge. That project produced out of 3,000 feet of historic dumps. And the average grade, if you can believe it, the high grade veins that uh, run down these trenches, the average 40%. And the grades we've seen in the rock samples we've taken are between 10 and 49.8% antimony, extremely high grade. And then around it, there's a halo of lower grade. So that grade is really carrying the day and getting a lot of attention. And then, we're applying for a bulk sample permit within these existing pits. And what that's going to give us, you don't have to move a lot of rock to produce real tonnage when you've got that kind of grade. So that we think is going to help us, working in previously disturbed areas, et cetera. That's going to help us move that project along faster than others. And then the tungsten project, it will be an underground mining operation, and we're somewhat at early stages in that we don't have a resource established. However, we are stepping out off of veins that are around the historic Golden Gate tungsten mine. And then we're drilling down at the south of Golden Gate in an area that's never been drilled before. And the stuff coming out of the holes is just lights up under a ultraviolet lamp. So we're looking, I mean, I'm crossing my fingers that that's going to turn into some good assays there. And again, with the grades that produced historically at Golden Gate Tungsten, and we proved that by testing the stockpiles that we've acquired, they match the historic production grades. That grade is going to carry the day with resolution.
So what should we be looking forward to in this next quarter? And I want to get you in more videos more frequently because, you know, your news is stale every 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, well, we'd love to do it, and certainly we're just starting to, we're logging core, we're starting to cut core, we're going to get samples in. I hate to give timelines because the labs tie you up, but I think we're going to start punching out numbers by July, and you're going to see news flow right through to the end of the year. 45 holes is it's a big program. We got a big team out there. And also look for hopefully news on Fast 41 coverage for Golden Gate. NASDAQ listing is going to, I think, hopefully result in a bit of a revaluation for the company as we expose ourselves to the U.S. investor community.
For those of you going, we need to do some due diligence on Craig Lindsay of Resolution Minerals. Please go to the following website. Craig, as always, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Wonderful to see you.